Hey, it's Ollie and welcome to part 4 of this special series of videos where I show you exactly how I use my core study time to learn languages every single day. Now, when I first moved back to London and I started studying Cantonese for the second time, I used a really cool resource called Glossika Mass Sentences, or Glossika for short. And I used it for a few months and it really helped me to get my head around kind of intermediate level Cantonese. And what Glossika is it's basically a list of sentences in your target language, a huge list of hundreds of sentences. And the reason it's really helpful is because these sentences are very well chosen and they show you, they give you a good idea of the different grammatical constructions in the language, and also words and phrases that you're likely to be asked and want to use when you actually use that language itself. So it's really useful. But one of the challenges with Glossika, I think, is it's not always immediately obvious the best way to use it for you, because it's a very substantial resource and there are many ways to use it. So what I thought I'd do in this video is show you exactly what I was doing every day to learn with Glossika during those 3 months.
Alright, so when you first look inside Glossika, this is what you end up with. It's hundreds and hundreds of sentences, and this is the Cantonese one with, so you've got the English at the top and then the Chinese characters and a bunch of different translations underneath, and so each one of these is a different sentence. Now the challenge with this is, well, how do you make the most out of it? How do you avoid just going over and over them without actually learning anything? How do you make this stuff become, how do you actually acquire it so that you can use it as part of your own language? So let me show you what I did. Now I'm going to be talking, for those of you familiar with Glossika, I'm going to be talking about the Glossika Mass Sentences, not the Glossika Space Repetition. I don't use that, I use the Glossika Mass Sentences. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, it doesn't matter. But so here we go. So the first thing that I do is I will take, I'll learn 50 sentences at a time. The Glossika sentences come in groups of 50. So I'll always focus on 50 sentences at a time. And then the first thing I'm going to do is just to listen to these 50 sentences over and over again, basically an infinite number of times. So I'm listening to the sentences only in the target language, okay, in L2, which means target language, over and over again. And I would typically do this when I'm walking around, when I'm maybe on the bus or walking to a cafe or something like that. And the purpose of this is just to get my ear used to the sounds. It's very important that with listening in the first stage, you're pushing your ear and you're giving it a challenge, the challenge of actually picking up as much as you possibly can so that it's not too easy. Alright, so I might do this for a day or two, just whenever I've got a bit of free time. And then after that, I'm going to move to the actual proper studying of it. Again, this is what I would do in my core study time. That's why I've written core here at the top. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to listen to those same sentences that I've been listening to for the past day or two, and I'm going to read them and read the translations at the same time. Alright, so I'm listening to the sentences and I'm reading them at the same time. Now, the purpose of this is, I've already listened to them loads and loads of times, so I've done what I can, but I've got stuck. So then by reading, what I'm doing is I'm filling in any gaps and I'm making sure that I understand everything that I'm listening to. All right, so after this point, I should be able to listen to all these sentences in Cantonese and know what they actually mean. All right? For me, this is kind of the preparation work, but you do kind of have to do this whilst you're concentrating as well. Now, from these sentences, there will most likely be a bunch of new vocabulary that you don't know, and possibly a bunch of interesting sentences and grammar patterns as well. So what I like to do then is to use this core study time, which again is like, for me it's early in the morning when there's no one else about and I can concentrate. And I like to take these core sentences and I like to create or transfer them across into a notebook of some kind. And I'm not writing all of them, but I'm just choosing the vocabulary that I don't know yet that I would quite like to know. And there might typically be, in a set of 50 sentences, there might be, I don't know, it really depends, but maybe, I don't know, say 10 new words, something like that. So I'm going to take the words I don't know and write them in my notebook so I've got a record of them. That means that then I can, if I want to revise them or practice them, then I've got them there. All right. So the combination of these two things, the getting to the point where I understand the sentences and then actually picking out the vocabulary that's new for me, all happens during my core study time. I need to be focused and concentrating whilst I'm doing that. Now from that point, what I'm going to do is the really hard work. This is when the practice happens, because then I'm going to start to use the different audio tracks in Glossika where they play you the English and you have to produce the target language. Okay, so L1 being English, your first language, L2 being the target language. So what I'm going to do this again when I'm out and about, because you don't need to be focusing so much for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the English prompt, and then I'm going to try and say the sentences in Cantonese. Now, first of all, I'm going to use the track where you have 2 attempts. So they repeat the Cantonese twice with a break in the middle. And that's helpful because it gives you a second chance. And I'm going to keep doing that. It might take me a day or 2 to be able to do that. And then eventually I'm going to move on to the track where you only get 1 attempt. And I'm going to keep practicing over and over again. Now, there'll be times when I might have to go back here and actually check to see what something means. But in general, what I'm doing at this point is getting to the stage where I can hear the English and produce the Cantonese pretty much automatically. And the whole process for 50 sentences might take, I don't know, if I'm really going at it, maybe 2 or 3 days. But it could be up to a week if I'm taking it easy. So that's the process I use. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.